The restaurant was buzzing softly, a mix of clinking glasses and low murmurs, but around our table, time seemed to slow. My parents' voices cut through the quiet like a knife. Lila, you have 2 days to pack your things and leave this house. We're done enabling your failures, my mom announced, eyes glinting with triumph. The waiter froze mid-pour, a crystal glass quivering in his hand. Nearby diners glanced over, curiosity piqued. My dad sat back, smug satisfaction written all over his face, as if he just delivered the verdict of a court. I am Lila. I'm 25, freshly graduated with a degree in physical therapy, something my parents repeatedly called useless. For years, I'd been their scapegoat, the one who never measured up. My brother, Ethan, had an MBA, a fancy job at a marketing firm, and a shiny car to match. Me, I had a part-time job at a rehabilitation clinic, sending a portion of my paycheck home, quietly keeping the household running while quietly being invisible. To them, I was a failure. To me, I was a strategist. Patience and planning were my secret weapons. For the past year, I had been living in their basement, saving every penny, completing certifications, networking, and waiting for the right opportunity. They called it freeloading. I called it preparation. Tonight, they wanted a public spectacle. Extended family had been invited, Uncle Greg and his wife, my grandparents, all eager to watch me squirm. Uncle Greg just got promoted to regional director, my dad announced, voice loud enough to carry to the next table. Meanwhile, Lila can't even land a decent job with that degree. Mom leaned in, feigning concern. Sweetheart, we've coddled you long enough. It's time for tough love. The waiter hesitated, menu in hand, but my family ignored him, too wrapped up in dissecting my life. She applies to clinics but never hears back, Ethan said helpfully. Maybe if she'd studied something practical, like business, Uncle Greg added. I quietly poked at my salad, letting their words wash over me. That was when Mom delivered the final blow. We're converting your room into Greg's home office. He's starting a consulting firm and he needs the space, she said with a triumphant smile. The table erupted in applause for Uncle Greg. I processed the words slowly. I was being made homeless, publicly humiliated. 2 days should be plenty of time to pack, that said, signaling for the check. And then my phone buzzed. A notification I'd been waiting for 3 months. My heart skipped. I glanced at the screen and felt a surge of relief, hope, and quiet triumph. For the first time that night, I smiled. Not the timid, apologetic smile they expected, but a confident, knowing one. Actually, I said, lifting my head and showing the phone, there's something you all need to see. The first shock came when I calmly asked the waiter for dessert menus, ignoring their eviction ultimatum. Did you hear what we just said? Mom hissed, flaring. Oh, I heard. I'm just deciding between the chocolate lava cake and the tiramisu. Ethan laughed nervously. She's lost it, he whispered. This is exactly why you'll never succeed, Uncle Greg added. Then the second wave. My family started debating my mental health as if I was having a breakdown. She used to be so sweet, Grandma sighed. Maybe we should call someone to help her. Yeah, get her professional help, Grandpa muttered. I ordered the chocolate cake with extra whipped cream, taking deliberate, slow bites while their whispers and disapproval bounced around me. You're embarrassing yourself, Mom snapped. And us, Dad added, loosening his tie, clearly uncomfortable as their drama unfolded in public. The third betrayal came when Ethan pulled out his phone and began recording. Wait till the group chat sees this, he muttered. That's when it hit me. They hadn't just planned to kick me out. They wanted to document it. Uncle Greg was already typing furiously, probably sending updates to relatives. You're worried about embarrassment? I said, slowly taking a bite of cake. But none of you asked why I'm not upset about being homeless. Mom's face reddened. You're delusional. Who's going to rescue you? I smiled. No one. Because I already rescued myself. Ethan's phone clicked shut. Fine, Lila, what's your plan? He asked. I leaned back, calm. I showed them my phone. Their confident expressions faltered as they read the screen. What they didn't know, I had spent 6 months secretly working with a recruiter specializing in travel nursing positions. While they thought I was aimlessly applying, I was strategically selecting high-paying roles in Boston, Seattle, and Miami. I had also completed certifications in emergency care and trauma therapy, quietly, methodically, in my parents' basement, their supposed domain of failure. The pile of acceptance letters, background check approvals, and offer confirmations lay hidden in my dresser drawer. The only thing left? Choosing a city. Signing bonuses alone exceeded my parents' combined annual income. My basement had never been a prison. It was a launch pad. And now the phone call I'd been waiting for arrived. It was Sarah, my mentor and former clinical supervisor. I put her on speaker. Sarah said, Lila, congratulations. Mass General Hospital in Boston wants you for their trauma unit. Full benefits, housing stipend, and a $15,000 signing bonus. You start Monday. The table went silent. Uncle Greg's jaw dropped. Ethan's phone fell to the table. Mom's lips parted in disbelief. Dad's eyes widened as he calculated numbers in his head. You'll be making $89,000 your first year, not including overtime and bonuses, Sarah continued. Relocation expenses? Covered. First month's rent? Covered. Mom stammered. But you never mentioned this. Because you never asked. I wanted to see what you really thought of me. I opened my purse and laid 5 additional job offers across the table: Boston, Seattle, Miami, Denver, and San Francisco. Emergency trauma nursing positions with competitive salaries, signing bonuses, and relocation perks. The waiter gave up, pretending not to listen, leaning in. My family stared in disbelief. The lowest offer, $85,000. The highest, $120,000 plus benefits and bonuses. You've been living in our basement, Mom protested. How could you possibly? I held up my phone showing months of saved earnings from part-time shifts, tutoring, and freelance medical writing. I've been ready for months. I just waited until I could do this independently. The room was silent, the weight of their assumptions collapsing around them. So, about the 2-day notice? I asked, smiling faintly. Actually, I'll need 3 days. Boston requires more planning than Uncle Greg's couch. Ethan finally spoke. Why didn't you tell us? For the first time in my life, I said, gathering the letters and putting them away, I wanted to see what you really thought of me. Now I know. Other diners were openly watching, some whispering, some shocked. I put on my jacket, standing tall. Dinner has been enlightening, I said. Thanks for the motivation. 3 days later, I packed my car while my parents watched from the front porch. They tried to apologize, to take credit, to convince me to stay local. Call when you get settled, Mom said weakly. I will, but we both knew nothing would ever be the same. As I drove away, I realized something important. I wasn't losing a family. I was gaining my freedom. The girl who apologized for existing was gone. In her place was a woman who knew her worth, who had taken control of her life, her career, and her happiness. For the first time, their silence didn't hurt. It freed me. Boston awaited, and I couldn't wait to embrace it. Sometimes the best way to prove your value isn't begging for recognition. It's quietly, boldly thriving.